He couldn't think anymore, his soul that was on the verge of collapse couldn't even think anymore. There was only obsession. The only thing that was keeping his soul together was the last bit of obsession that still existed. You're still persevering, your soul has long crumbled and yet you're still persevering. Puti sighed, child, you're too tired, if you can't take it, just give up. With his unbelievable power as the universe lord, he had long seen through Luo Feng's soul's condition. To be able to persevere until now, he was already feeling pity for this child. Including the 6,000 years of accepting the life and death inheritance, he's only lived for over 10,000 years. Too young. Still a child? Puti shook his head. He was the first servant of the foreign race. In the most ancient times, during the initial stages of the vast universe's evolution, he had followed the foreign race. His lifespan was incredibly long. To him, the limit of a sector lord's lifespan of 1,000 years was only considered an adult. As for Luo Feng, including the 6,000 years of life and death inheritance, he had only lived for over 10,000 years. In the vast universe he was indeed very young. Kiki, Luo Feng's body trembled, he unconsciously made noises as fresh blood flowed out. Just like a fish on the shore about to die. He was struggling. He wasn't willing to die just like that, even though he knew he would be revived in time and space. Puti's snake tail coiled, silently gazing at the dying Luo Feng. Puti understood. This youth was struggling with all his might. You're very powerful. The first candidate had 2,600 years, the 2nd 3,300 years, yet you've persevered for over 6,000 years. Very powerful, you should be proud of yourself, give up. Puti was very clear on how tragic it was to be in such a situation. He couldn't even think, his soul was beginning to crumble. Star Pagoda. This life and death inheritance, why is it so difficult? Puti sighed, looking at Luo Feng, who was unconsciously making noises, trembling and bleeding. Luo Feng had once undergone life nirvana, that was back on Earth when he burned his soul to kill the golden horned beast. That time he was in a situation of certain death, even to the point where he was willing to die just to kill the golden horned beast. Fate toyed with him, who would have thought he would be able to take over the golden horned beast, beginning an exciting journey. The genius battle's pride, the Ganwu department's supervisor envoy, the primal chaos city leader's direct disciple, slaughtering countless emperors like dogs, becoming the Blade River Emperor, it was indeed glorious. Extremely exciting. And now Luo Feng was experiencing another nirvana. This was the second nirvana of life. As long as the nirvana was successful, they would be able to survive. Failure in nirvana would mean death. Luo Feng unconsciously trembled as he let out a groaning sound. His expression was twisted and his skin was torn. He was even more miserable than most of the dead. One side was life, the other was death. Luo Feng was struggling on this line. The crazy wind was madly blowing at him, blowing him towards death. However, his endless determination made Luo Feng grab onto this line of life and death, working hard towards life. No matter how strong one's obsession was, it was still limited. As long as the life and death inheritance continued, the tearing of one's soul would be everlasting, constantly intensifying and strengthening. I want to. Luo Feng was like a person running on the road, trying his best to increase his speed. However, the road roller behind him was also increasing its speed steadily, continuously closing in. He was finally close. Within the Star Pagoda, within the countless forbidden grounds, the alien race undyings from all over the universe were all shocked. What happened? Why is the forbidden space shaking? Rumble. The countless forbidden spaces seemed to be shaken by a giant, shaking violently. Simultaneously, the 9-light-year-tall Star Pagoda shook slightly. However, as it was surrounded by the endless 9-spiral nebula, it was hard to tell. Within the countless forbidden spaces, the alien race undyings had no idea what was happening. At the same time, in an incredibly distant and terrifying place, within the endless energy flows, a lonely palace emanating green light floated within. Within the palace there were many servants, all of them universe knight level. On a throne in one of the halls of the palace, a towering old man with a height of over 90,000 kilometers was sitting there, listening to the respectful reports of his servants. Suddenly, his expression changed slightly, and he turned his head to look in a direction. It was as if he could see the star tower through the endless spacetime. The Star Pagoda's most basic owner recognition, it actually lasted for so long. That Earth youth actually managed to persevere. Haha. After 1 trillion years of waiting, the Earth's bloodline has finally produced the most exceptional one. The majestic old man suddenly stood up. So, he had already vanished into thin air. Success? Puti looked shocked at Luo Feng, who had stopped trembling as he laid there. He could already feel that Luo Feng's obsession was getting more and more unbearable. It seemed like he was about to be finished. He could at most last another 2 to 3 years. One had to know that Luo Feng had already lasted for 6,092 years. With the absorption lasting for thousands of years, what was the point of 2 to 3 years? Who would have thought that he would already reach the street? No matter how powerful the road roller was, once it ran out of fuel, naturally it couldn't move anymore. Just now, the crystal bead had finally completely fused with his soul. It was a complete fusion. Fate. Actually, if it wasn't for Luo Feng's incomparably firm heart and determination to resist, he wouldn't have undergone that transformation at 3,200 years. Without that transformation, no matter how strong his obsession was, he wouldn't have been able to last for 3,000 years. Even with this metamorphosis, it was impossible. If it wasn't for Luo Feng's obsession miraculously persevering for close to 500 years, he wouldn't have waited until the very last moment. He would have welcomed the successful nirvana transformation. With luck and hard work, only then would he welcome a new life. I've succeeded. Luo Feng opened his eyes, the world energy shook off the blood on his body, his fatigued eyes were filled with joy. I've succeeded, I can return to see you all. His mood was joyful and relaxed. The endless fatigue from his soul immediately surged up and drowned Luo Feng's consciousness. Rumble. Luo Feng, who had been sitting crossed-legged even when he was on the brink of life and death, he still sat crossed-legged. At this time, he suddenly collapsed and laid on the ground without moving, completely in a deep sleep. He fell asleep. He actually fell asleep? Pu Ti looked at this and laughed. For a sector lord to fall asleep from exhaustion and lose consciousness, it's really rare. Undyings would lose too much of their god body and soul, causing them to fall into a deep sleep. And the moment a sector lord's soul shattered, they would die. Unless one was like Luo Feng, who had squeezed out too much of his soul's potential, squeezing it out time and time again, completely exceeding the limits of his soul's potential, only then would he fall into a deep sleep after succeeding. As the soul itself was too tired, it needed to absorb energy to recover. However, normal warriors, being able to perfectly unleash the soul's potential was already not bad, much less exceeding the limits. Hence, for a sector lord to fall unconscious from exhaustion, it was 1 in 100 million. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. When a sector lord lost consciousness from exhaustion, this sleep naturally lasted for a long time. However, as his soul was complete, he naturally didn't need to sleep for an eternity like a god. Luo Feng slept for over 9 years. It's been a very long time since he had a dream. Luo Feng laid in the palace within the Star Tower, sleeping there with a smile on his face, almost like he was dreaming of something very happy. And in the palace, other than Luo Feng, there were 2 other terrifying absolute beings from the universe watching this scene. Luo Feng's eyes suddenly opened. From sleeping to dreaming, obviously his soul had completely recovered. When he finished his dream, he opened his eyes too. Child? A warm voice resounded, just like the voice from the black metal board, causing Luo Feng to immediately stand up and turn to look. There were 2 silhouettes ahead. One was the familiar universe Lord Pu Ti. At this time, Pu Ti had retracted his aura and was very low profile as he sat in a corner. And in the center of the palace, at the very front stood a majestic 900 tall silhouette. He was dressed in a seemingly normal green armor, with 2 transparent horns on his forehead. He was currently looking down at Luo Feng. Endless energy enveloped the entire palace. Under this endless energy, Luo Feng felt like a normal human under the sun's rays. He didn't feel any pressure at all, instead it was very comfortable. This made Luo Feng immediately understand that this wasn't pressure, but the natural life energy emitted by this absolute being. Just this energy alone had already surpassed Pu Ti and the primal chaos city leader. Universe origin laws, I can't feel the universe origin laws anymore. Luo Feng was shocked within. How can this be? How can I not feel the origin laws? A strong warrior's training was to feel the universe origin laws. The clearer the feeling, the faster one's training. However, whether it was his earth body or the Masha clansman or golden horned beast in his internal world, they couldn't feel the origin laws working, almost like this absolute being before him, with his life energy pervading the area, even the universe origin laws had to retreat. This is the power of the strongest warrior in the universe? Luo Feng looked at the 900 tall old man before him. He was shocked within, even the universe origin laws can't suppress it? No wonder he was able to create the 9 Calamity manual, this terrifying technique that goes against the universe origin laws. It's simply too. His 900 height made Luo Feng tremble. It was rare for a human to be this tall. What he didn't know was that this powerful being's true body height was over 90,000 kilometers. As a unique life form in terms of talent and vitality, it was countless times higher than the golden horn beast. It was only because he wanted to enter the palace to meet Luo Feng that he shrunk to 900 Congratulations, from now on, you are the leader of Earth. You have the right to be ranked amongst the absolute warriors of the universe. The majestic old man's voice rumbled, piercing deep into Luo Feng's heart. Beside, the universe Lord Pu Ti smiled as he looked at Luo Feng, happy for him too. 3rd Junior, congratulations. Luo Feng was touched by the words, qualified to be ranked among the universe super great beings. These words were uttered by a universe supreme master, a great being of another race who could rival Huge Axe creator. In the eyes of a great being of another race, to be called a universe super great being, one had to at least be a universe master. The powerful figure of the alien race had 2 disciples. The first, Pu Ti, was a universe master. The second, the leader of the flame god race, was also a universe master. Luo Feng was about to become the 3rd disciple. He probably had hopes of becoming a universe master too. This made Luo Feng's heart burn. Universe master, reaching pinnacle universe knights like Tianshi Palace leader and Shi Luo duo were already considered universe overlords. If they were to take another step into the universe master level, with time and space in his hands, he could reverse the flow of time and space to revive a warrior, allowing an entire race to have an endless life force. The Earthling race, the flame god race, they are all my children. The towering old man gazed down at Luo Feng, his voice rumbling, you've passed many secret tests and passed the Star Tower inheritance test. Even if you're my disciple, you'll probably be my last one. Luo Feng was shocked. Last disciple? Who could say for sure how long the future would be? This great being seemed to have confirmed that he only had 3 disciples. Don't be shocked. The majestic old man's gaze was like the sun, shining straight into Luo Feng's soul. For you and your second senior, early on in the universe's evolution, I already had plans and plans. I spent countless years acquiring treasures, and most of them were given to the 2 of you. More than half. Luo Feng was shocked. For example, even if the entire human race used all their strength to create this star tower, even if you had my forging skills, how many could you create? The giant elder turned to look at Puti. On the other hand, I helped Puti the least. Puti bowed. Teacher, without your help, I would have remained an undying for my entire life. Even without me, you would still have become a universe knight. The towering elder shook his head. Back then, I took in many servants and all of them were extremely talented. I helped all of them and they all had similar talents. However, they all became universe knights. Only you became a universe master. Unfortunately, every supreme treasure in the universe has very strict requirements for recognizing an owner. For your second and third junior brothers, I started preparing before they were born. Disciple already has a supreme treasure. Puti said. Yours is nothing. Among the 6 pinnacle races and the various powers of the universe masters, your treasure is only of an ordinary standard. The towering old man shook his head. I'm preparing a supreme treasure for you. I've collected it for countless eras and I've already taken a rough shape. I reckon that in another 10 million eras, there will be hope. Puti prostrated in excitement and said gratefully, what teacher has done, this disciple will do his best to repay. Haha, my disciple is naturally extraordinary. The towering elder laughed. I just hope that one of you 3 can catch up to me. Ah, that would be a great story in the universe. Teacher and disciple are all universe supreme masters. Ha ha ha. Luo Feng listened and was convinced. The number of disciples accepted by this powerful being was very few. Furthermore, the second and third disciples had each taken the initiative to guide and nurture a new race, creating secret arts and so on, and selecting the most outstanding ones to become his disciples. One could see how stringent this great being's selection of disciples was. If he hadn't taken the initiative to nurture the 2 races, the towering elder would have chosen the only universe master to become his first disciple. Other than that, even with the trillions of races in the universe, countless eras, countless geniuses, the great being didn't take in a single disciple. Primal Chaos City leader was different. He shouldered the responsibility of the human race, and as long as there were some super geniuses or exceptional beings, the human universe masters would take them in as disciples one by one, resulting in a pile of true disciples. The number of disciples in name was even more shocking. Even Huge Axe creator was no exception. With race ties, that was how it was. And the great being was a unique life form in the universe. Without race ties, no matter how many geniuses you were, he couldn't be bothered to teach them. The races he nurtured were like his own children, that was why he took care of them. Disciple Luo Feng, you haven't called me teacher yet. The towering elder looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng knelt down respectfully and shouted excitedly, Teacher. This powerful being of a different race was the guide of the Earth race. It could be said that he was the creator of the Earth race. Without this powerful being of a different race, there would be no Earth race. Good. You are my disciple and as your teacher, I have to do my duty. The towering elder's voice rumbled as he looked down at Luo Feng. I have 3 habits when teaching my disciples. Firstly, I like to prepare the best resources in the universe for my disciples. Secondly, I won't teach any techniques. Thirdly, I won't care if you live or die, and I won't reverse time and space to revive you after you die. Luo Feng was stunned. Not teaching techniques? Not caring about life or death? A true super expert can't be taught, Yi Futian said. The towering elder said solemnly. Everything depends on you. Any universe master has to create their own techniques to reach that level. If you have your teacher protecting you at all times, you won't become a great warrior. When I teach my disciples, I don't teach techniques, I don't care if they live or die, I only provide resources and treasures. The towering elder said. If you fall on the way to becoming an absolute warrior, I will choose another candidate from the Earth race to accept the life or death inheritance and find another 3rd disciple. The 2 races I nurture are destined to have a leader, and there may not only be one leader. You can only be said to be the leader of this generation, and I hope you will always be the leader. His voice rumbled and entered Luo Feng's soul. And this great being's voice seemed to have endless power, making one involuntarily believe him. Understood. Luo Feng said respectfully. You understand the theory. No matter how powerful the teacher is, no matter how many resources and treasures are provided, if the disciple doesn't train, then even becoming undying is impossible. The towering elder said solemnly. External resources are important, and one's own hard work is even more important. However, the stronger one is, the less useful external help is. With endless treasures, no matter how bad one's talent is, as long as one trains, one can become undying. However, to become a universe knight, that's a harsh requirement on one's own hard work. Becoming a universe master is even more difficult. If you become a universe master, you want to take another step forward and reach my level. No treasure will be of any use to you. Your first and second senior brothers have been stuck at this step for countless years. Among your human race, other than Huge Axe creator, none of the others have taken the final step. I understand, I will work hard. Luo Feng was excited. Many great warriors were afraid of not having enough resources. Why did the pinnacle races and superpowers fight? Why did they fight? It was all for resources. To nurture geniuses they needed resources. To grow they also needed resources. With resources, it was like having a foundation, the rest would depend on one's own hard work. And what this great being had prepared for Luo Feng was to give him the right to be ranked amongst the universe's absolute warriors. This qualification was those resources that made one's heart tremble. I've prepared 2 true treasures for you and your second senior. A total of 4 true treasures. 3 of the supreme treasures are about the same level. Only the Star Tower. Of your 2 supreme treasures, the Star Tower is very special. It's even more powerful than your second senior brother's supreme treasure. The towering old man sighed emotionally. In the past, I spent countless precious materials and treasures to refine the supreme treasure, Star Pagoda. However, something special happened in the middle. Something out of my expectations caused the Star Pagoda's power to greatly increase. It was one of the strongest treasures in the universe. Even though its power increased greatly, its basic recognition was thousands to tens of thousands of times harder. In order for the Star Tower to recognize its owner, I specially guided and nurtured the descendants of Earthlings who had stronger willpower and consciousness in their souls. Even so, the first and second candidates still failed. Back then, the Flame God race easily made it recognize its master, unlike you who had to work so hard. Luo Feng sighed within. Yes, it was tough. When he recalled the 6,000 years of torment, every second felt as long as a year. These 6,000 years were more difficult than 100 million years of normal life. It was as if he was in an endless purgatory with no end in sight. He had endured all the difficulties, persevered and persevered. In the end, only his obsession with his loved ones kept him going, until he got weaker and weaker. Luckily, he succeeded at the last moment. The Star Tower's power is extremely strong. Due to the special changes, even I don't know its limits. Just the basic recognition is already so difficult, to activate it is much harder. The towering elder said. Luo Feng understood that the basic form of the Sha Wu wings required one to comprehend the first level of the beast god transformation. The Sha Wu wings had very little use for universe masters. However, the Star Tower was a treasure suitable for universe masters. One of the strongest treasures in the universe. Without its master controlling it, the universe masters were helpless. Even the universe masters of the 4 pinnacle races couldn't do anything about it. The conditions to use it were naturally much harsher than the Sha Wu wings. Your human teacher, the primal chaos city leader, is one of the top universe masters in the vast universe. Even your second senior is only barely comparable to him, or maybe even slightly weaker. However, if you become a universe master in the future with these 2 treasures, especially the Star Tower, it's enough to make you comparable to the city leader, or even suppress him. This is the power of the strongest true treasures. The towering elder said. The Star Tower is one of the true treasures, and the other one I prepared for you is called the Force Armor. Force Armor? Luo Feng was stunned. The Force Armor has always been within the Flame God race, and your second senior is temporarily in charge of it. This Force Armor, with special resources, it can produce large amounts of armor pearls of varying strengths. They are the Soldier, General, King and Emperor Armor Pearls. These are very suitable for the Flame God race, but they are only used by Universe Knights and below. At most, they can only increase the overall strength of the race. That Force Armor is the true treasure, and it's suitable for Universe Masters. Its power is limitless and it's your second true treasure. Luo Feng was overwhelmed with emotions. Soldier, General, King, Emperor, they were all produced from the Force Armor? One is the Force Armor and the other is the Star Tower, which is even more terrifying than the Force Armor. The Great Being prepared these 2 treasures for the leader of the Earth race to dominate the universe. These 2 are even more intrepid than the Sha Wu wings, and they're enough to make Universe Masters go crazy for them. I hope the conditions for using them aren't too harsh. Luo Feng began to worry. With his strength, could he use such terrifying treasures? Within the palace surrounded by countless ceiling stars, the majestic old man gazed at Luo Feng, speaking slowly. It was very intimate, however his voice resounded within the palace. As a unique life form in the universe, his body was naturally 90,000 kilometers tall, he was used to speaking with a voice like thunder. Disciple, of your 2 treasures, one is the Star Pagoda, the other is the armor. Your second senior brother's 2 treasures, one is the Flame God Halberd, the other is the Soul Energy. Back when I guided and nurtured the Flame God race, the Flame God race's natural talents were extremely high, they were natural fighters, and the leader of the race, which is your second senior brother, was extremely proficient in close combat, possessing endless power. And the Flame God Halberd is a treasure used by a fighter, and the Soul Energy is an extremely special treasure related to the soul. Once it's infused into the soul, it can make the soul even stronger. Luo Feng was shocked. The supreme treasure, the origin soul? It can strengthen the soul? Your second senior brother's body aspect is extremely strong. Compared to his body, his soul aspect is more ordinary, comparable to a normal universe lord. Only by relying on the soul energy can he be even stronger. That way, the soul energy caused his soul aspect to become even stronger. The Flame God Halberd made his battle strength even more intrepid. Currently, he's an absolute overlord in the vast universe, extremely proficient in battle, many races don't want to mess with him. Luo Feng nodded as he listened. He was filled with respect, creating an overlord in the universe, it was unbelievable. However, I'm not satisfied. The majestic old man looked at Luo Feng with a gleam of pride. Hence, there's the Earth bloodline. Even though the body's talent is strong, there are still ways to change the bloodline and raise the genes. And I even created the 9 Calamity manuals that are resisted by the universe origin laws, allowing the normal genes of Earth to become comparable to the rare and powerful life forms of the universe. The golden horned beast you've possessed is considered a pinnacle bloodline. Its physical attack is only 10 times that of a human's. And the 9 Calamity manuals, the first level is 3 times, the June 2nd times, the December 3rd times. Just training to the 3rd level allows a human's body to surpass the pinnacle bloodline golden horned beast. The 4th level, 5th level. As you continue training, at least the common bloodline life forms of the universe won't be able to compare to you. Like the golden horned beast, it is still a normal race to be able to reproduce and pass down its inheritance. The towering old man sighed. And in the cosmos, there are some unique life forms that have yet to be born and have yet to be inherited. Since the birth and evolution of the universe, some life forms may only exist in 2 or 3 life forms in the entire universe. Some life forms are even unique. The more powerful and the more heaven-defying a life form is, the fewer there are. For example, the blood river power you obtained was formed from the blood of a beast god. The towering elder sighed. The beast deity is a unique life form in the universe. It is born as an embodiment of fused laws and possesses extremely domineering combat strength among the lords of the universe. Can you imagine being born as the lord of the universe? LuoFeng was stunned. Special life forms? He understood a little when he was collecting information. That was a life form that was born in some special environment in the universe. It was impossible for them to reproduce or pass down their inheritance. Life forms that were unable to reproduce could not be considered a race. Like the golden horned beast, even though it was rare, it could still reproduce. Passing it down from generation to generation after countless eras, it could still produce large amounts of absolute warriors. However, some special life forms like the beast deity, there was only one of them in the universe. Since it couldn't reproduce, naturally it couldn't form a race. The special life forms of the universe usually grow slowly from being weak. Like the beast deity, an embodiment of the fused laws, being naturally strong, is extremely rare. The towering elder gazed at LuoFeng. These special life forms, their genes are 100 times or even 1,000 times stronger than humans. Obviously far surpassing the golden horned beast. LuoFeng nodded. The golden horned beast belonged to the universe's strongest bloodline. It referred to the bloodline that could reproduce from generation to generation. And these special life forms, there were many that surpassed the golden horned beast. It was just that their numbers were pitifully low. Like the beast deity or the powerful warriors of the other races, they were all unique in the universe. With the 9 Calamity manuals, it's equivalent to creating a special life form. It's a pity this 9 Calamity manuals can only be trained by one person, and it has to be a blood and flesh life form that has the soul of Earth. The towering elder said, "My expectations of you are very high. You have the 9 Calamity manuals, your genes and life forms are noble. In the future you will have a powerful god body and soul. And as an elite of the Earth race that's hard to find in countless eras, your willpower and consciousness are extremely strong. Consciousness is the general of spirit energy and willpower is the commander of consciousness. A strong willpower and consciousness will allow your soul to unleash 10 to 100 times the power. Strong body, strong soul, strong willpower and consciousness. Whether it's the body or soul, there are many ways to improve. Only willpower and consciousness, depends on your heart, treasures and techniques are useless." The towering elder exclaimed. "Hence after I learned my lesson, I guided and nurtured you Earthlings. You Earthlings have an easier time improving your mental state. Even though your body's talent is considered average in the entire human race, and is at the bottom in the vast universe, your willpower and consciousness is strong enough to look down on the countless races in the universe. In terms of mental state, the Earthlings indeed look down on the countless races in the universe. I've given you 2 treasures. Calamity armor, even though your body is strong when you become a true warrior, it's still weaker than your soul. Hence you've used the Calamity armor to improve. Star Tower, soul, willpower and consciousness are all strong. Naturally you should walk the path of Spirit Reader Controller, or Illusionist. Right now your body is strong, but when you reach Undying your soul will completely shine. This Star Tower is an incomparably suitable treasure for you. Your second senior and you, a total of 4 treasures, of which the Star Tower is the most complicated, you can slowly understand it later. I'll bring you to a place now." The towering elder rumbled and stood up. "Teacher, where are we going?" LuoFeng was curious. "You'll know when you get there." The towering elder took one step and reached the center of the hall. In the center of the hall, a warped pathway appeared. The first disciple Universe Lord Puti and the third disciple Earth Leader LuoFeng followed behind. One of them entered the distorted spatial passageway. The pathway warped. The 3 great warriors flew like lightning through the pathway, reaching a mysterious region after a while. Hua hua hua. A blurry colored space. At a glance, water droplets of different colors were slowly floating in the endless space. The towering old man appeared in this space with Puti and LuoFeng. "This is one of the spaces within the Star Tower." The towering elder pointed at the various colored water droplets floating in the endless space. "LuoFeng, do you know what these are?" LuoFeng looked carefully. With a glance, there were over 1,000,000 water droplets of various colors. With just a glance, there were over 1,000,000 of them. They were densely packed, scattered throughout the endless space, floating and floating. This is your Earth's future. The towering elder exclaimed. Earth's future? Luo Feng held his breath, looking at the millions of water droplets. The towering elder nodded. The Calamity armor I created for you and the soul source for your second senior, their actual power hasn't reached their level yet, they're both slightly weaker. The main thing is these two treasures, both contain the ability to nurture their children. I used over half of the materials to create them, that's to give them the ability to nurture their children. The Calamity armor nurtures the soldier armor, general armor, emperor armor and emperor armor. The soul source nurtures the soldier soul, general soul, emperor soul and emperor soul. Of course these names are just code names, just to differentiate the 4 different children. The towering old man smiled. Those armors, general armors, king armors and emperor armors can only be used by special races like the flame god race that I've guided to evolve. Of course, the 9 Tribulations secret tome you cultivate belongs to the evolutionary style of my sect, and it's more advanced than the flame god races. You can use it too. Luo Feng realized. No wonder humanity couldn't research it, even the soldier armor and general armor shards weren't discovered. As it turned out, the requirements to use it were too harsh. Back then, this powerful being of a foreign race had created it specifically for his evolutionary path. The soul source is like that too. I've modified Earth, turning it into a cradle. The children of the soul source, soldier soul, general soul, emperor soul, they all have to be from Earth to use. The towering elder exclaimed, other than you Earthlings, only the leader of the flame god race, your second senior has the ability to use the soldier soul, general soul etc. Of course he has the soul source, he won't care about the children. However, these subsidiary bodies are very important to you Earthlings, said Yizichin. With it, the Earthlings will be able to create an extremely terrifying spirit reader army. Whether it's a controller or hypnotist, they'll be extremely powerful. It can make the chances of the elites of Earth dying very very low. This way the chances of a universe knight being born is even higher. Earthlings, their future is limitless. Because they have to be nurtured on Earth, only then will their souls have that uniqueness. Earth is only so big, resulting in a limited number of Earthlings. Being bound to a small planet makes the Earthlings similar to the flame god race, extremely few in numbers. However, the chances of a strong being born will be very high. As long as you have enough time, when you become an absolute warrior, under your protection, guidance and nurture, you'll naturally be able to nurture a powerful race. Of course, whether you want to stay within the human race or separate the Earthlings from the human race, that's your choice. However, all of this will have to wait until you become a true overlord of the universe, only then can you do it. Luo Feng looked at the water droplets floating in the endless space, almost as though he could see the future of Earth's warriors. Under his lead, Earth's name would spread far and wide, becoming a power not to be underestimated amongst the trillions of races in the vast universe. Skyscrapers are built from the ground up, however a building's foundation determines whether or not it can be built into a skyscraper. My foundation has already been formed. It's already here. It all depends on my own hard work. Luo Feng thought. In the vast universe, in terms of resources, those that could match up to him could be counted on one's fingers. In the human race, because there were countless warriors, just the universe lords alone, they definitely couldn't leave the Star Pagoda and Calamity armor to a sector lord early on. No matter how much of a genius he was, it was impossible. However, the foreign race was a lone ranger, he didn't need to consider the race, and obviously his ability to accumulate treasures was comparable to the entire human race. To be able to be on good terms with such a foreign race being, even the universe lords of the human race would be extremely happy. Disciple Luo Feng. The towering old man pointed at the water droplets floating around him. There are 1,000,000 soldier souls, 100,000 general souls, 10,000 king souls and 1,000 emperor souls. They are similar to the soldiers and general armors of the flame god race. The soldiers and general armors put a great burden on the body and have harsh requirements. And these soldier souls and general souls however have extremely high requirements for the soul. Soldier souls, normal pinnacle human sector lords can completely withstand it. General souls, 100 times that of a pinnacle human sector lord. Emperor souls, 10,000 times that of a pinnacle human sector lord. Emperor souls, 1,000,000 times that of a pinnacle human sector lord. The majestic old man looked at Luo Feng. Disciple, even though you're only a sector lord, you have the soul activation technique. In terms of willpower and consciousness, you can pass the life and death inheritance. Consciousness comes from the soul, maybe if it's weaker, it's only comparable to an undying. However, in terms of willpower, many universe lords might not even match up to you. The Star Pagoda inheritance was very special. The stronger the soul, the greater the pain during the fusion. Hence back then when the foreign race captured a large batch of test subjects, the universe lords that were captured and fused, their souls were strong, to be able to become universe lords, which one of them wasn't a powerful person. Absolute geniuses? However, the pain during the fusion was incomparable. Without any struggle they all died. His death was very straightforward. On the contrary, sector lords and undyings had weak souls, so the pain from the inheritance was much lower. Even though they all died, they could still struggle for a bit. Hence the candidates had to be sector lords or undying. However, Luo Feng was able to do it. His willpower was already incredibly powerful. These 6,000 years he had been constantly training and improving, especially when he underwent a transformation at 3,200 years. It made his willpower even more powerful than most of the knights in the universe. The soul strength is the soldier, the consciousness is the commander, and the will is the commander. The stronger one's willpower was, the stronger one's strength would be. Although you are a realm lord and your soul amplification is 32 times, with your willpower and consciousness, it is more than enough to use a general soul. The majestic old man said, "Bring 2 general souls with you, one for your earth clone and one for your golden horn beast clone. Wait for me to arrange everything before you use them." "Yes." Luo Feng said respectfully. With a flip of his hand, the 2 souls were kept in his world ring. "Teacher, these soldier and general souls." Luo Feng was hesitant. Beside, Universe Lord Puti smiled. "Third Junior, these soldier and general souls are all special items, their effects are no less than many treasures. Unless you truly want to nurture the earth bloodline, they should be placed here, it's the safest." Luo Feng nodded. Looking at the floating 4-colored countless water droplets, these were what the earth bloodline would rely on in the future. "Follow me, I'll bring you on a tour of the Star Tower." The old man pointed ahead, the countless water droplets floating in space began to condense into a boat, first forming the bow and then swiftly extending to the back. The powerful energy gathered and naturally formed a beautiful and elegant boat that was over 10 kilometers long. The boat emitted a powerful energy, causing Luo Feng to stare wide-eyed and mouth agape. "Get on." The majestic old man entered the boat and sat crossed-legged. 900 m tall, sitting on the 10 kilometers long boat, it was like a normal person sitting on a 30 m long boat, it was normal. However, Luo Feng and Puti were like little dots beside their teacher. "Created?" Luo Feng's eyes were filled with shock. This was a boat even stronger than the 9-Blade Knights universe ship back then, yet it was so easily created. Very shocked? "Third Junior brother, Master is one of the most powerful beings in the universe. Even the laws of the universe have to give way to existences like them. The laws around them are useless. You should also feel that you can no longer feel the origin laws of the universe." Puti smiled at Luo Feng, and teacher and the others are already able to control the laws. Within a certain area around them, it's not the universe origin laws that control them, but them. Within a certain area, whatever teacher and the others say the laws are, they are the laws within that area. Teacher said fire can freeze people to death, so it can. Teacher said countless life forms reach their limits and fall, that's when countless warriors fall. Teacher said the stars should disappear, the planets should release endless light, that's when it happens. Teacher said the maximum speed is no longer light speed but 10 times light speed. That means within this area, one can reach 10 times light speed. That's the control of the laws. Within a certain area around teacher, the universe's original laws are useless. Teacher controls everything. Puti looked at Luo Feng's stunned expression and laughed. Luo Feng was completely shocked. Control of the laws? This was the strongest? Whatever he said was the law. Even the laws were useless? Of course it's not as invincible as you think. This endless universe operates according to the origin laws of the universe. It will give respect to the strongest experts in the universe, but it's only a certain privilege. It's only within a certain range of the strongest experts in the universe. If you really want to go against the laws of the universe and become enemies with the entire universe, you're just courting death. In theory, with the control of the laws, shouldn't they be able to easily kill countless warriors? However, just the universe lord, the one that truly controls space and time, it's extremely hard for the strongest to kill them. Puti explained. Luo Feng listened to Puti's explanation in secret. He was shocked, his horizons were very different. In the past, Luo Feng's horizons were more focused on emperor-level undyings and universe knights. As for the universe lords, he could only look up to them. Maybe he had the desire to become a universe lord, but which genius didn't? A soldier that didn't want to become a general wasn't a good soldier. However, how many soldiers could become generals? Geniuses all had ambitions and desires, but that was all. Luo Feng looked up to the universe lord, that level of being. However, right now his senior and second senior were universe lords. His teacher was even one of the strongest in the universe. Listening to them speak, he could hear the highest level secrets of the vast universe. Star Pagoda, 9 light years tall. If you slowly walk around by yourself, who knows when you'll finish? Sitting crossed-legged on the mountain like majestic old man's voice rumbled. He pointed around, "I'll guide you. You'll finish in half a day. Look carefully." Luo Feng sat on the boat. The boat's speed far surpassed light speed. In theory, once it reached light speed, it should enter the dark universe. However, that didn't happen. Obviously the foreign race had already adjusted the speed limit around him. This sort of defying the laws of the universe was something only the strongest of the universe could do. The strangest thing was Luo Feng could clearly see everything. Flying faster than light speed and still able to clearly see everything? Luo Feng couldn't understand it all. Everything went against the laws he was used to. However, he still looked carefully. The vast star pagoda. The boundless space. In the boundless space, the various forbidden areas only occupied less than 1% of the area. The larger area was occupied by the pillars that connected to the heavens. The shortest pillars that connected to the heavens were a few light seconds long, while the longest were over a light year long. These sky pillars had endless engravings on them. They were incredibly complex and glowed with a golden light. These sky pillars were embedded and connected to each other. Other than that, there were many other strange-looking treasures. Every one of them had huge auras. Other than that, there were many ceiling stars. These ceiling stars were like the wheels of a bicycle. They revolved around everywhere. Every one of them had marks on them. The sky pillars were the frames of a skyscraper. The other treasures were bricks, windows, branches and leaves. And countless ceiling stars acted as a buffer. Huge origin law engravings covered the sky pillars. They pierced through countless treasures and countless ceiling stars. It was almost like an incomparably secret and terrifying machine. After forming a perfect body, a heart-trembling treasure was born. The complexity of the engravings that could be seen with the naked eye even surpassed the engravings on the beast god statue. Just like that, he spent an entire day looking through them. Luo Feng was completely stunned. These origin law engravings. Luo Feng held his breath. Even though I spent countless years and effort to create them. The majestic old man's voice rumbled as he exclaimed, however during the process of the treasure's formation, there were special changes that exceeded my control. Even I can't see through them. This is the mystery of the universe's evolution. Luo Feng, my disciple, can you feel the entire star pagoda? I can. Luo Feng nodded. After successfully recognizing me as its owner, I can feel those ceiling stars. I can feel that I can easily obtain them and easily reach the various restricted spaces. However, as for activating the entire star pagoda, I feel like I'm facing a huge mountain. I can't activate it at all. The power of the star pagoda is limitless. The majestic old man smiled. Your power is still very weak. How can you activate it? Just that treasure Calamity armor. To activate it, your body strength has to reach 100 million sector lords. Normal universe knights can reach that. You've stepped into the undying level. You're definitely an emperor invincible, and even stronger than the so-called emperor invincible in the universe. When you train the 9 Calamity manuals in the future, you'll be comparable to the universe's special life forms. Naturally, its special, undying level can do it. However, the Star Pagoda is 10 to 100 times stronger than the Calamity armor. Activating it is even more difficult. If you want to activate the perfect Star Pagoda, difficult. The moment you can activate the complete Star Pagoda, even if it's at its weakest, a simple smash, those universe knights will be smashed to death. The majestic old man shook his head. The current you is still very weak.